All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakwadash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, Wa Akwathium, all right, that believe in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Now, of course, as always, salutations to all you sincere Akim that are preaching this word. All right, in all truth and sincerity. So I'm just chilling, all right, in the whip, like Jake liked to say, but out to go do some errands. So on my mind, before I got in the car, was doing a lesson, and I wasn't really pondering on what to do a lesson because the Spirit, is gonna provide. But I just knew I was going to. Now, I'm gonna start this off in Obadiah, verse 1. It says, "The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle." Now, these nations are being stirred up to go against Esau, the so-called white man, who is Esau Edom. The word Edom, is Hebrew for Adawam, which means red. All right. So these Edomites, the Hebrew Edomites, are you so-called white people. All right, you're the devil. Okay, the violent, the wicked, the evil. Okay, ruling this present world. All right. And we don't just call you, the wicked or evil because you're in power. Okay, we're calling you that because that's the truth. Look at your track record. All right. It says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thy pride." Okay. The pride of your heart. All right. Of you Edomites, you so-called white people. Now here it is. You stole the world through violence. All right. Bloodshed. Wickedness, theft. Okay. But here it is. You'll be told these things. The prophets are out here telling you that you're nothing but a piece of shit, wicked demon, that stole the earth through violence. And, we'd get Edomites all the time that would walk by the camp and look at us and smirk, smile, and laugh. Okay, but now, especially with these files coming out, it's not something to laugh about anymore for these damn devils, man. And they're still going to be proud. They're not going to admit that they're all violent and wicked. Okay, but once an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite, a so-called black, Hispanic, Native American does something, that's contrary written of in these scriptures, they'll be like, "See, it's you guys. It's these fucking cartels in Mexico producing and bringing in drugs and raping white women." Wasn't that what they were saying a couple years ago? That so-called Mexicans, these illegal immigrants, were out here raping women. But look at what's being exposed on these fucking devils right now with these files coming out. They're out there raping babies, man. Okay? They're out there raping babies, eating their flesh, calling it jerky, eating young toddlers, calling it cream cheese because They could taste the lactose, okay, of what babies eat, because babies eat milk. They lactate, you know? It's fucking wicked, man. But here it is, this guy's proud, okay? And it says, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai ultimately deceived you devils, because you have a time, you have a moment, an exact measure, that once you fulfill that exact measure, once you reach that exact point in time, okay, you reach your limit, the Lord is going to fucking bring you down, man. Okay? It says, though thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Okay, you're a very lofty being because of your pride. All right? And it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. If you just Google Petra, Mount Seir, okay, it'll show you that that architecture is the exact spitting image of the architecture of Rome, of Greece, of America, okay, Russia, wherever all these Edomites are. Similar architecture. Salat. And I did mention the Russians. Okay, the Russians are Edomites as well. They're so-called white people. Those people in our land that call themselves Jews and are not. Those are so-called white people. Those are Edomites. But the Lord is going to utilize the Russians, okay, against those Israelis and against you American Edomites, man. Okay? That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. What is the mascot of America? Is an eagle. Okay, what's the mascot of Mount Seir? Ancient Petra was the eagle. Okay? Of Russia, of Rome, of every Edomite major country. Well, all these Edomites, they all use the eagle. The Germans, Nazi Germany had an eagle. The Romans had an eagle. Okay, Greece had an eagle. America, an eagle. So he exalts himself as the eagle. In the back of a quarter is what? An eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, then shall I bring thee down, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So the Lord going to bring you down. The Lord's going to strip you of your rulership. Okay? And he set his nest among the stars. You got all these space stations, satellites. And like the Apostle Gabar went into years ago, that word for nest means a stash of weapon, a weapon stash. Okay? A hunter's nest, sniper's nest. That's what those fucking satellites are, man. Okay? Because with the satellites, they could zoom in, they could fucking, inspect things, and they equip them with weapons to what? Fight against the Lord. All right? It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Because regular people, say somebody wicked out there does steal. Okay, they're not doing it like Esau does, man. Because this guy can never have enough. When he steals, he doesn't stop there. He enslaves the people. All right. Then he moves on to the next resource that he needs. Look at what just took place in Venezuela. Okay. They weren't just out there for oil. but also other minerals, man. All right. There's a lot of copper, iron, gold out there in Venezuela, man. Silver, which they need these minerals, these elements for the microchip, man, the Karagma, the mark of the beast. Okay. That's why a lot of these banks right now are buying up the silver. Silver is the greatest conductor of electricity when it comes to metal. Okay. It's a well-known fact that silver allows more electric conductivity than any other metal. It even surpasses gold. The only issue is silver tarnishes and gold doesn't tarnish. All right. So that's why when you see in like computers and these high level tech they use in space, a lot of them shuttles, stations, rockets, they got gold. That gold film, because it doesn't corrode, it doesn't tarnish, and it doesn't nothing interferes with it. Nothing what's the word? It doesn't break down. There's another word. But pretty much gold is natural to the universe, man. And it's a precious, very clean metal. It says, verse 6, how are the hidden things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Eventually, NATO and the EU is going to break apart. But also, these other nations are going to, lose interest in the supporting of America. Even its own allies. India, eventually, going to turn their back. Taiwan, Japan, eventually they're going to turn their back. What we're seeing right now, the Saudis and Turkey, eventually they're going to turn their back. All right, on the American Edomite. Because those people in Turkey are Edomites as well, but they embraced Islam. So they're going to support, the Islamic Muslim regime. Iran, okay, Syria, Hezbollah, okay, Yemen. They're going to come together. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in them. When you give somebody bread, okay, that's food, that's nourishment. So even all these countries that Esau, the American Edomite, gives aid to, they're going to use that aid. They're going to take that and run, and then run back to him for war. Verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? The Lord is destroying your wisdom. Okay. The Lord is taking you down, and you don't even know it because of your pride. You can't see that your end is nigh. You just know that you got to start moving and making moves because, nobody's these other nations, they're not playing ball with you anymore. They're taking you very lightly right now. So you got to come forth with more, with more control. All right, you got to microchip these people. Okay, you got to collapse the world's economy. You got to cause, world war. Because you're losing control. It says, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mountain of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. And eventually all you Edomites are going to be destroyed. You're going to be cut off by slaughter. All right, the real Hebrew Israelites are going to slaughter the real Hebrew Edomites. Okay? You got these assholes, these fucking Edomites did a skit. My brother posted, and these assholes did a skit titled the White Hebrew Edomite, because the FBI, CIA, and these sellouts are trying to deem us all black Hebrew Israelites, when that's not the case. That's not true. We tell you that it's not about skin color. We tell you that there's Israelites that look like so-called white people. Okay? We tell you that. Shoot, the brother in the camp that I'm in. All right? The head of the camp. We're the brothers in Modesto, California. And that brother looks like a so-called white man. Okay? But there's also a lot of other brothers out there, man, that look like other nations. Shoot, a lot of times people mistake me for being a Japhite, which would be a so-called Pacific Islander, either Samoan or Hawaiian. But nah, I'm a so-called Puerto Rican. I'm of the tribe of Ephraim, which is not far out, because a lot of Puerto Ricans did move to Hawaii, did live amongst, move themselves amongst these other islanders. Salakia. But eventually, all you Edomites are going to be cut off by slaughter. And this is the point. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
People think the world's gone to hell, that it's gotten so violent. But the world never got violent. There is no God. The world has been violent since the beginning. Cain killed Abel. Cain killed Abel.
You see that? You hear that? Out of the devil's mouth, out of the horse's mouth. The red horse's mouth. And that's what sparked this lesson. As soon as I seen this and watched this and heard this, I said, boom, there it is. That's the lesson right there. You mentioned Cain and Abel. That Cain slew Abel. Cain's an Edomite. Okay? He said violence has always been around since the beginning. And that was the first murder that ever took place on this planet, in the universe. Okay? Because this is the first planet to ever inhabit human life. All right? So let's get back in the scripture one more time, and then we'll jump back to that. Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. All right? Jacob and Esau came back. Cain and Abel came back as Jacob and Esau, man. Okay? Because who was the father of Jacob and Esau? Isaac, right? Who is Yahushai? Who was the father of Cain and Abel? Adam, who is Yahushai. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. But this time, when Jacob and Esau were born, all right, Cain and Abel were born, they were already tussling in the womb. Okay, they were already going at it. Because you could already tell this fucking devil was probably trying to You know, kill Jake in the womb. Probably try to wrap his umbilical around him. You know? Now we can only speculate. It's not written. But it tells you that they were fighting in the womb. All right, when you read Genesis chapter 25. See, we got the truth, man. And if you don't believe, you're going to believe. All right? You're going to know it's the truth after death by pain.
That it's gotten so violent. But the world never got violent. There is no God. The world has been violent since the beginning. Cain killed Abel. Cain killed Abel. The third person on the planet killed the fourth.
And I'm going to say this again. All right? This guy said, you know, the world has always been violent. It's been violent since the beginning. And he mentions Cain and Abel, right? Hey, the world has been violent because of you fucking devils, man. Because of the wicked. Okay? Now we understand it was prophecy and why it came about. All right, but who actually did the crime, okay, was Cain. The serpent, a damn fucking devil. Okay?
Person on the planet. We weren't even able.
And I'll say that he was the seed of that serpent, okay, the wicked. All right?
To make it to 3 people before somebody was a murderer. People think the world's gone to hell, that it's gotten so.
And it's going to hell because Esau is the end of the world. All right, so with that, I'm going to give all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Arakah Kodash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Shalom.